You are listening to the sounds of the Right On Network.
Hello and welcome to On the Record Jams. This is episode 27, brought to you by the Right On Network. I'm AJ.
And I'm Arthur.
And on this episode of On the Record Jams, we're going to talk about the record Did You Hear? And there's a question mark at the end of this song title by Tchotchke. I hear that they are LA bred and New York based band. But before we go into that, I want to thank our Patreon subscribers because they're one of the reasons why this particular podcast exists. And that is Alan Wright, he's boldoutlaw.com. DJ Merck, he's the sound of the Right On Network. Check out his music. If you go to the music platforms, look up Merck Bandwidth, MERC Bandwidth, Cluck Trent, Ken Fredikowski, Mark Blair over in Australia, Paul Hicks, Laurel Phillips at the Fire and Water Podcast Network. We have the Irredeemable Shag, Justin Steiner on Substack. He's Shoefly Pie, and he reviews music on Substack. Rick from Jeff and Rick Present Unpacking the Power of Power Pack. Chris Pine 1, Bill Beer of the Bat Pod, Jordan Holt, April 5K, and Clinton Robeson of Fan Film Fridays and Coffee and Comics. Guys, thank you for going to patreon.com/Right On Network, WRIGHT. There'll be links in the show notes because you are helping us keep the lights on, helping us with our overhead. And if you become a Patreon subscriber, please make sure to watch the unboxing videos that I'm doing. It's a lot of fun. And something else that's a lot of fun is this band Tchotchke. So, Arthur, this is how this happened. Maybe it's 2023. I don't think 2022. 2023. And the algorithms, I'm sorry, Sarah O'Connor. I'm sorry, Terminator 2 people. The algorithms got me and I became friends with them. I'm sitting there, I'm on social media, and I'm steady seeing, like, Tchotchke, they were doing this thing where when you would scroll, you would see, like, the T, and you would hear this music, and the C, and the H. I'm not going to spell the whole thing, even if I was spelling it correctly. And I was like, oh, this music. And I was like, okay, you know what? It was only like snippets of it, but it was enough for me to go, I love this. I bought the album, loved it. All right. So that was their first album. And I liked it so much, I was like, man, I'm scared. I think if they were to release something else, would I like it? And now we have this second album. All right. And it came out in the year 2025. We're going to talk about this single, Did You Hear? And this group is a trio, 3 girls, all right, or 3 young ladies, is Anastasia Sanchez. She's a drummer and singer and one of the lead songwriters. Ava Chambers and Emily Torin. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And it's produced by the Lemonheads, the Lemon Twins. And it's these 2 brothers, and they have their own band called the Lemon Twigs. And they're into doing like this pop, 60s, like super slushy, luscious, like pop music. Is almost saccharine. And they're doing this thing where it's kind of like, it's nothing like this, but I'm just going to make the comparison. It's like these producers in hip hop where they kind of get, hey, I know what you do. Like, you know, you got like a genius like Ghostface, a genius like Prodigy from Mobb Deep, where it's like, I just know how to do the genius. But maybe it's this super producer. I can elicit out what people like from you that you probably, maybe you don't know how to recreate it, because usually when you're doing like, when you're an artist, it's like, hey, I'm on some other stuff now. You want me to do something again from when I was 20 years old? I'm 53. But maybe that producer knows how to, like, get it out of you. Like, I know what people are looking for, and I know how to maybe get you there. All right? You know, you picking up what I'm putting down, Arthur?
I am picking it up. It's we call it self-awareness, right? Like, hey, this is, I get it. I'm typecast, but I'm going to live with it because this is what you want from me. And honestly, this is kind of what I want from me too. So here it is.
So we have the conductor. Why am I drawing a blank on a producer working with Mobb Deep and Prodigy?
Alchemist.
So these guys, the Lemon Twigs, they kind of get like, so when you get the first album from Tchotchke and the self-titled Tchotchke, they're doing this kind of garage rock pop, and it sounds kind of like 60s girl music, but they could get away with, oh, we're not doing that. That's something you pulled out on your own. On this album, this is like, no. This is not a figment of my imagination. You guys are full-heartedly, this album came out in 2025. It's called Playin Dumb. And when I say playin, I'm talking Playin apostrophe dumb, Playin Dumb. This is straight up leaning into the, yes, we are being a 50s, 60s doo-wop group with some garage rock inspired stuff within it. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is my thing. Like, you guys are, you know, like, remember it was this whole movement kind of like from 2009 to 2009, maybe even earlier 2000s, where it's like, hey man, you're being a hater. You're older. The music has changed. It's not that it's not good. It's just, it's younger people. You can't hate on it because it's not something from when you were 17. You're 36 now. And now it's people going hey, don't worry, man. I got you. Alchemist is going, hey, remember that feeling you had in 1995? We're going to give it to you. The Griselda Boys, West Side Gun, they went, hey, remember when they said you were being a hater because you kept like referencing the 90s? Don't worry, we got you. We're going to give you that feeling. That's what they're doing with this. They're also being like music nerd savants, you know, with the Lemon Twigs producing them and Tchotchke, where I think it's pop perfection. Like they're trying to give you, and like this song, Did You Hear? To me, this sounds like a record, and it sounds like back in the day when, like, it's the 60s, when they produced a single, that single wouldn't be on the album. It would be its own separate thing. And to me, like, this album is nothing but bangers on it to me. However, I think this record, Did You Hear, it specifically sounds like we are trying to make a single to go on the radio. Like, not them doing that, but that feeling of you're listening to this album, but specifically this song, we specifically made this for, this will be the record we're going to send to the radio stations. So when I threw this over to you, Arthur, this record, Did You Hear? What were some of your thoughts? Tchotchke.
So I didn't know who this was. I didn't know whether it was going to be something that the Alchemist would sample. I didn't know what the period was going to be for it. But then when I listened, I picked up on the Supremes, the 60s. This is where they're at, songwriting, Beach Boys. Like, okay, I'm with it now. I understand. I looked up some lyrics because I'm always going to look up the lyrics. And it's like, okay, I got it. And then I was like, let me jump around, listen to some more stuff. I'm like, oh, okay. So for this album, this is kind of like what they're doing. And so because they have really just the kind of two albums. So they have the self-titled and they have Playin Dumb. So I was able to jump through those and jam through it. And I was like, okay, all right. And I don't know much about the Lemon Twigs either. So I need some education on that. But yeah, I jumped through this and it's not like tricky stuff. Like you understand what's going on. You hear that drumming going down. You hear some good bass and you hear some serious singing going on. It's well handled, well delivered. So it's not hard to jump into. And like I said, they're not trying to trick you with triple entendres or anything like that. Like, you know what's happening with these songs when you hear it. The mood is right for it. And it's just some good stuff.
Yeah, I feel like with the first album, they were in their alpha, and I feel like in this one, they're in their omega flow, and they're not apologizing about it. So with this, they were just like, hey, man, we want to keep this I've tried to read interviews about this album, and when I downloaded this album, I listened to it on a Friday after work. So you worked a full-blown shift. You worked a full-blown week. So you're kind of out of it. And I listened to it and I was like, oh, huh. And I didn't think I would say this, but I think, and it doesn't matter, we can love it all. I think the second album is better than the first. Like, this second album, it just goes by smoothly. So I think in the first album, they were, they were in their girl power and all this stuff. And then with this one, they were like, hey, the album's called Playin Dumb. And we just leaned into it, all right? We leaned into, like, the first thing I thought is, especially with this song and some of the album, when I was a little kid, I would watch Sally Fields in Gidget. So a lot of times when you look at the promo work for that, it's her, she's in her pajamas, she's a teenage girl, and she's on the phone gossiping. Like, that's the imagery they're trying to give you. That's not me saying it. That's what they were doing. And in these videos, they're doing this stuff. Is it spoof? Is it whatever it is? But, you're going for a feel. It's like, if I'm listening to Mobb Deep, I don't want to hear about bunnies. I want to hear about the Mobb Deep stuff. But I don't have a problem with bunny stuff because I listen to bunny things. But it's just when I go to Mobb Deep, I want to hear this. So I'm going to read these lyrics, and it's I like listening to them because they're cracking so many jokes. Like, even on the first album, like Come On Sean and all that, they got some jokes for you. But here it is, guys, and we can talk about it later. Did you hear what he did to me? Now, for me, when I hear that line, it's a lot going on there. But because I'm like, okay, no, remember they're doing like Gidget, the 60s, we're gossiping on the phone, we're just that kind of thing. But I was like, ugh. Did you hear what he did to me? Don't repeat this, please. I couldn't stand the shame. What's the word? He played it cool, but I know where he's been. I'm not a fool. Still, I'm wondering, will he ever really love me? In spite of all that he's done, I was number one. But now he's never says that word. It's nothing new. He does this all the time. I stick around because everyone lies. Will he ever really love me? Instead of looking for a girl who has more, it's always someone new. He's going to hurt her too. The bridge. What else can I say? I can't walk away if there's a chance that he still loves me. And then the outro, did you hear what? Did you hear what? And all kind of, he did to me. Did you hear what he did to me? I love this song. You got guitar solos. And the thing about it is I've seen them live once, and it's just the three of them. Although on the albums, there's keys going on. And I just think the keys are just great. So I really would like to see them live, and there's also a keyboard player there. But yeah, you got guitar solos. You got the we're in and out pop structure. There's a narrative going on. It's this whole like kind of adolescence, this like teenage years of you're getting caught in the drama. Like this person's not being faithful. This person's not being truthful, but it feels good to just to this is getting you through the day. You're passing notes in class. This is before, the internet and all this stuff. You're phoning it. Do you like me? Check yes, check no. Like they're going for this like mood, this vibe, and the music sounds nostalgic. Like they can't go, what were you talking about? No, we're just making modern day music. What do you mean? No, this sounds like the past. Oh, and it definitely like it sounds like, hey, you're older listening to this. Reminisce to the time where you were going through this. So it's all this kind of stuff going on. Arthur, what are some of your thoughts on this?
Right. You hear it all, and you nailed it. Like when we were kids, we still had like those 60s shows were in syndication. So it's like Gidget and all that type of stuff. So it's like the beach, it's the sock hops, it's the whatever Sonic is still going for with their restaurants. Like it's Happy Days, you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff. And it's like this is in your mind kind of what the music would be like. But like you said, it's like delivered. Like there's some musicianship happening on here. And yeah, the narrative of the song we love to hear the story again and again, right? Like the love sick girls that are trying to figure out if they're going to dump this sorry guy or not, right? They're like, girl, just dump him. Sheesh. But it's like, yeah, music would be a lot less interesting if you just dump him, right? So you got to wonder about it. That's that process. And, obviously in my case, having a a teenage daughter and hearing about her friends and all the different stuff that they go through. So the song sings to me in more than one way, because this is teenage life and in any era. It didn't change. It's just cell phones involved now, but it's still the same stuff.
And it's very interesting. Like, to me, it's heartwarming and it's hopeful that, these are talented musicians and they could have gone in any direction. And this is a choice. Like, hey, what are you going to do? We're going to make this music where it sounds like the past. And I always like the idea of, because this is the second time the Lemon Twigs produced their album. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, we're going for this. How do we get there? And that reminds me of the Beatles, where just John Lennon, he just tells the producer, hey, make me sound like Smokey Robinson. So it's like, okay, yeah, you want these type of vocals, you want this type of reverb. Like, I understand your shorthand, and now I know how to carry that when the George Martin. So it's like, yeah. With this, it's a lot of art. So when you buy the vinyl, it looks like they made a board game, and you're going through all the levels of like what these songs are. And they've made several music videos, and again, they're playing around with this imagery of even them, like the girls, they look dated, like the young women in this band, they're making themselves look dated. Like, they look like they're from the 70s, kind of like these like Riot Girls from the 90s, but they're in the 70s, 60s, bad girls, pink members only jackets, leather jackets, smoking cigarettes under the bleachers. Like, they're giving off that whole vibe, and the music is playing with it. I think on the previous album, it was more of that, like, we're these tough girls. And then in this, it's more like vulnerability, or what the album is called, Playin Dumb.
Playin Dumb. Yeah.
And the whole thing of, we're playing dumb, so it can kind of, I guess I'm trying to pump you up to be the hero to get me out of this. Like, I have to play dumb. Who's playing dumb? So it's all these little things going on.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. Because at first, the way they're listed in apps, it looks like the new album is the only album. But, I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. I'm going to click around. And then that's when I found the original album, or the first album, or the self-titled album. So it's listed as a compilation if you go to some places. But yeah, it's always cool to know that you got these different bands doing this type of stuff. And man, it's good that you get out and see them too. I think that gives a whole nother feeling to a lot of these bands, man. Seeing them in person, seeing their aesthetic, seeing what they're going for. I think you can get a better feel off. And then also, too, sometimes they let you off the hook as far as trying to figure out what they're going for. When you see these bands live and they do covers, because then they kind of out themselves with what they cover, right?
Yes. So they did something on Halloween, October 31st, where I think they went under the band My Boyfriends or something, and they were dressed like men, and they were doing like 50s doo-wop music or whatever.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, this is on the nose.
Right. That's kind of like, it's a tricky way to do it, but like, that's it, right? Like, you're out yourself like, hey, I know I think you figured it out, but yeah, just in case you haven't, check this out. Like, this is what we're doing.
I like this where, like, okay, so when you listen to Nirvana and it's like, hey, these people, they're grunge and they're all this. And, with some people, it's like, take it or leave it, because it's an aesthetic where it's not for everybody. And then when Nirvana did the MTV Unplug, where you can hear the songwriting. And it's like, yeah, like anybody could take this and make it a pop song. Like, in the end, like, yeah, it's grunge and they're doing all this and weird feedback, garage rock stuff. But when you strip it down, like About a Girl, like a lot of this stuff, this is just ABC 1, 2, 3 pop music. And I like how with them, like, they're rocking and they're rolling, but then there's like this kind of 50s aesthetic. Same thing with the Ramones. Like, the Ramones are known for like, hey, we are the punk band. We're a punk band. But a lot of it, when you really listen to it, they're doing like this 50s. You take the girl to the malt shop and you get a milkshake. Same thing even with the Misfits. Like as wild as they are, when you really stop and you listen to the Misfits, sometimes they scare me because it sounds like ghouls with the reverb that they're doing. So sometimes the music, it freaks me out. But a lot of the Misfits music, it sounds like 50 stuff. It's just, there's dark imagery or it's whatever. But same thing like with heavy metal or Led Zeppelin or the Rolling Stones. It's like, hey man, at the end of the day, we're doing the blues. We're just doing the blues. We're doing those old 12-bar blues. And I like with this where it's modern. You know it's modern. But like I remember I was listening to some West Side Gun music with DJ Merc, and I played him this one song, and he was like, oh, like it was a song where it sounded like something the RZA would have done in the 90s. And he was like, yeah, it does sound like that, but what they're doing with the syncopation, they wouldn't have been able to achieve that. So I would love to talk to someone that knows like gear and like music stuff that the Lemon Twigs and Tchotchke they're doing on here. Whereas like, yeah, I know they're trying to make you feel like this is in the 50s, early 60s, but it's certain things that's happening here where that would not have been done back then.
Right, and you wonder how far they would go with, like you talk about the gear, because I mean we talked about D'Angelo before we talked about him before he passed, and now since he's passed, there's been so much content that's been resurfaced, and in other cases just people talking about his recording process, which was always like this stuff of legends, like not being as digital. Even when he did Black Messiah, had a lot of the same gear from the Voodoo sessions. So the Voodoo sessions were like mid 90s all the way up to the late 90s, because that was still in the era where you finished your album and then it kind of sat for months when they try to pick the first single and get you to take all the pictures for the marketing and all that. And like like we've been talking so much about rollouts with the clips. It's like everybody that was on a major label got some kind of rollout process, but also the recording process was so arduous because he wasn't taking advantage of all the technology that was available, because he wanted that older sound. He wanted to play it live. Yeah, he was an analog guy, and he wanted to kind of play his way into some jams. And of course, everybody that's in the band is like, brother, we're jamming right now, man. Start singing, dude. And he's like, no, we don't got what I'm going for. And you're having to go back and forth and get it together. So I wonder, like, for a group like this, do they try to do stuff like that? Or if they just want to make sure that the playing is good, they got the aesthetic right, and maybe they want to mess around D'Angelo in it and making things harder for themselves if they don't have to, right? It'd be interesting to see.
The interviews I was reading, it said that they were trying to keep it as simple as possible. They were trying to be direct and straight to the point. And, on this album, it's 11 songs. It came out September 5th. And I've been sitting on this, Arthur, and I've been jamming this and the clips, and now this Mobb Deep album. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, man. We've been talking about that Mobb Deep in the chat with Kevin, and it's like, yeah, man, they did the same thing. They did the giving us what we want. They curled up in a room and they knew they had the self-awareness, and they said they had like a picture of Prodigy on the wall, like, we got you, dude. We're not going to mess this up. And they held themselves accountable to that standard, and they got it done. But yeah, with this group, this latest album, I mean, it's 30 minutes, dude. It's quick, and it's like it keeps you with it, and it's in and out, like you said. And again, it's good. Like, it just jams and it works.
Yes, and this is something else that I've been talking about in the group chat. Thank you for bringing this up. So I think it started with MF Doom, so maybe MF Doom, and where I'm going to give you one verse. This beat is going to be hot. I'm going to give you some bars, and you'll be so satisfied with that. You won't want this song to be 4 minutes, 30 seconds. You won't care that this song is like a minute and 53 seconds because it was so jamming. You're like, hey, I'm good. So then with West Side Gun, I feel like they were doing that. Like West Side Gun, he got a lot of like, it's one verse. This song is just one verse. But the beat is so quirky and jamming, and I was giving you just some wild, crazy, fly rhymes. You're good. So with this album, it's 30 minutes. With that Clips album, I don't think it's short, but to me, with Clips, it's a duo, and each brother gets one verse and they're out. It's not like I'm going to do two and you do two, because they've done that before. And I think that's a good format. But it's like, no, you know what, man? I gave you like a verse where you guys were really breaking it down and getting all this stuff, and it was just one verse. So why would I give you two? And this album is 30 minutes, Arthur. So it's like, all right, I'm at work and I'm kind of setting some stuff up. I play the sucker. I better have all this done by this. Is like, man, I love it. And you know, we live in a town where you got to be a commuter. And this album is done on my way to the grocery store. This album is done by the time I get to work.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat, man. And yeah, some of these get in and out, man. There's people that need to be doing that. Everybody doesn't need the self-indulgent 70 minutes. I don't know how to end any song music. Like some of these, you do know how to end it. So end it. You know, jam, get it all in there, get your musicianship. It's like when we talked about the Motown stuff in the 60s. Like, they didn't have the option to be self-indulgent, whether it be technology, whether it be their dreams of getting on the radio and trying to break some of those walls down. And they were like, okay, we're going to play this 2.5 minute game with you guys, but we're going to get that bridge in there. We're going to get that solo in there. We're going to get that tempo change and sneak it in there. Like, we're going to do it. And it's like, hey, like there's a certain amount of talent in being able to get a song brief and pack it in as well too. Even with our rapper guys that are doing the one verse thing, that means you got to shut up. You know, you got to get it all in there. You got to tell everybody how tough and cool you are and how you better not come to his town or he's going to get you or whatever. And okay, guys, all right, I'm not going to Buffalo now. Thanks. And then give me the next song, you know, and then thread me in a different way on the next song. Fine. Then give me some Stove God, please. 'Cause I always want some Stove God. But yeah, it's there's a lot of ways to get this done, and it's just so cool, man, that there's so much music out there. And like you talk about the algorithms, like your algorithms aren't the same as my algorithms. So I can bumble and stumble into some stuff that'll be completely different than what you stumble into. And so it's like it validates these discussions that we always have going on in the chat. It really gives a little bit more power to this show as well, too, because you just never know what you or I are going to bump into, right? And we just trying to share that.
They did this, like you were saying. This song is 2 minutes and 47 seconds. You get several verses. There's a bridge. There's a guitar solo. They don't just go in at the beginning. There's some guitar licks at the very beginning to set up like what kind of mood it is. So there's breathing room. So it's not like everything is just compressed and condensed. And then there's parts where the keys go in and out. So when they come back in, it really sounds like they're emphasizing an idea that's being said where like either we judge it, we think it's funny, we think it's poignant, we think, oh man, it's kind of sad. This person's about to be set up for failure. They're doing it all in. So it's not like, oh, it's 30 minutes, you're getting slighted. No, you're getting full-blown meals. It's just like when you eat healthy, you don't need much of it. But like if I go to McDonald's, yeah, I could get 2 number 4s because it's not enough nutrients to get me filled up. And that's what's happening here, guys. This thing, I feel fulfilled every time I listen to this album in its entirety. Oh, and that's what's happening on that Mobb Deep album.
It's got the minerals.
They're only doing one verses and they're one verse and they're out. Each MC.
Right, especially knowing that they're dealing with scraps and things that they can't go back and redo. And so trying to stay true to what was recorded at that time, whenever Prodigy recorded those verses, and trying to make it seem like those songs got put together as those songs, which in some cases you could hear that, oh, okay, maybe that was like an 80% complete song. And in other cases, it's like, hey, that was just a verse. And then they had to try to wrap a quilt around that verse and make it seem like a song, but also give Prodigy his space to do what he did on a lot of Mobb Deep songs, which is kind of, he opened them up hard, or he closed them hard, or he really hammered home the point of whatever the song was supposed to be about. Like, that's a lot of music. Again, that's talent, and that's like the ability to know how to do that, especially with something that you can't go back and redo. Like, man, that's a lot to ask, and we asked for it and we got it. And again, it's just so cool that we got this much music available to us, not to mention all of the, the older things that maybe we could all stand to revisit or check out again, or things that we missed. We talk about stuff like Weezer and going back and catching, their moments and listening to those albums with these ears, knowing how it all turned out. And you can just kind of laugh about it and think, man, how did those dudes think that was going to work? Or you know what? It kind of made sense that would have worked, but it sucks that it didn't work at the time, but it's cool that people eventually came back around to it. So it's just it's a wild world of sports here in the music world. But man, it's a beautiful time to have access to music and just have your mind open even a little bit, because there's just so much for you to find.
Anastasia, Ava, Emily, one thing that I love about them is the whole thing of they're into what they're doing. So again, we're making references to other people. With the clips, it wasn't just, hey, here's the album, we're gone. It was the rollout. We're at the Vatican. We're doing interviews. We're doing all this stuff. Same thing with Tchotchke. They're very involved. When you get the physical media, the vinyl, you pull it out. It's a game board. You can play it with your friends and family. The videos, heavily involved. The video fits the aesthetic of their music. And they did multiple videos for this album. So, like, again, heavily involved, pushing it, touring. So what I like about them is the music sounds like down to business and everyone's involved. So, like, with these three musicians, they also are all doing vocals. So you have Anastasia Sanchez, she's the drummer and lead vocalist. And then you have Ava and Emily, they're doing all the oohs and ahs and the background vocals, which I love. So it's like when they perform live, they got to be tight. I love it. I think that this is a great record. Guys, you got to check this out. They're called Tchotchke. I found out that, that's like some little knick-knack. Apparently, like on the East Coast and the Midwest, they say it a lot. I went to this local garage sale, and they had little tchotchkes there. And when you get the first album, they had little tchotchkes in there for you, like a little pink flamingo, all this stuff. And I'm pretty sure when you see them live, you get little tchotchkes too. They come with the album. So, like, again, we're putting thought into this. We believe in what we're doing. We're into it. Where the 90s, it was kind of a reverse, where like everybody was esoteric. They were being difficult in interviews, like not answering questions. It's like, dude, like, come on, man. But back then, I thought that was cool and stuff. And it's still cool. But if some musicians are like, hey, we're being upfront and open with our process and all that, I welcome that as well. So, Arthur, final thoughts about this? Did you hear Tchotchke?
Oh, I heard it and it was jamming. That's my main last thought. But I agree about the openness to it, man. I think we're in everybody is making a documentary about their lives as they're living their lives mode, and different people are better at documenting than others. But yeah, I really like some of the inside look. sometimes I can stand to get a little mystique with my artist, but not everybody needs to try to be mysterious and spooky, right? Some people just need to come on out with it and be like, guys, you see what I'm doing? I need you. What I call it, right? Jay-Z in it. Like, explain it like a villain on a cartoon. Like, this is my plan. This is what I'm doing. This is why I think it's great. This is why I want you to get a piece of it. Like, please come on in. Because, like you said, those bands that were being weird and goofy, like they got all the time in the world, I think now artists are dealing with it in a crowded environment. So they probably are more motivated to let you in on it. And then hope you still, have enough time in between all the distractions we have to give them a shot, So I'm glad this is working out for this band. I'm glad because it seems like with their first album, that would be the type of band, like they could do one and then they start breaking up and doing their own stuff and they never get back to it. So it's cool that they got back to it and that they're, like you say, doing the work, being around, doing shows, making videos. That's real cool. So yeah, I'm happy with all of that.
Yes, we'll have the link to this record in the show notes. Watch the video and write to us and let us know what you thought about this record. Did you hear? Where are some places where they can contact us, Arthur?
They can catch us with ontherecordjams@gmail.com for the people that still send emails. I still read emails. You can catch us in the chat anywhere like a YouTube or through the comments there. We have On The Record on Facebook. We have OTRJ on Blue Sky, and we have On The Record Jams on the X for the people that still do that as well. So we have some options. Really like to have these conversations going, filling in some blanks if there's something that we're missing, especially with something as new as this. I mean, this album's been out a couple of months, so there's a very big chance that maybe we haven't had a chance to unpack everything. Maybe we missed something. So fill in those blanks for us, point some stuff out to us, help us get deeper inside this stuff. We got all these artists doing this great work. That doesn't mean we catch everything every time, certainly not immediately. So let us know.
Yes, thank you for listening to On The Record Jams. This has been episode 27. And so until next time, keep your lamplight trimmed and burning.
And keep jamming.
Boom, we got it.